Khiva is the same age as Babylon. Khiva is one of the capitals of ancient Khorezm. Herodotus, the father of history, wrote about Khorezm, the holy book of Zoroastrianism, Ovesta, the most ancient set of rules and legal norms, a great treasure of mankind, was written here. Along with Samarkand and Bukhara, Khiva was one of the most important centers of the Great Silk Road. Trade and crafts flourished here, and there was an active mutual influence of cultures of East and West, North and South. Time and wars destroyed the walls and the buildings behind them. However, despite its venerable age, more than 2,500 years, the city still preserved the masterpieces of its architecture. Khiva is divided into two parts, Ichankala, inner fortress, and the suburb of Dishankala, outer fortress. Ichankala is 250,000 square meters of antiquity. The height of its protective walls reaches up to 10 meters. The city has 4 city gates, they are oriented to the 4 sides of the world. The minarets, mosques, mausoleums of saints and chambers of former rulers, built at different times by different masters, smoothly pass from one to another. The earliest surviving monuments of Khiva are the mausoleums of Pahlavan Mahmud and his teacher Saiduladdin in the center of Ichankala. Pahlavan Mahmud, who lived in the 13th century as a hero, philosopher and poet, enjoyed great authority among the people and was canonized as the patron saint of Khiva. It is said that Pahlavan Mahmud had no equal in hand-to-hand fighting. According to legend, returning after one of the fights in India, he brought 2 huge logs. From them 2 carved columns were made for the Juma Mosque, which are poetically called Dancing Girl. In total, there are 213 columns in this extraordinary mosque. All of them differ in shape and carving pattern. They are supported by a flat roof, in which a hole for light and ventilation was provided. And despite the huge size, the room, during prayer, was neither stuffy nor dark. In the 18th century, after a fire, the mosque was rebuilt and some of the columns were replaced, but scholars say that the building is based on constructions from the 10th to 12th centuries. The smallest madrasa and the tallest minaret in Khiva is the Islam Khoja complex. The almost 45-meter minaret ends in a through lantern with a dome on top and is remarkable for its amazing elegance. Its complete opposite is the Khalta minor minaret, which seems to be cut in the middle. With a base diameter of 14.5 meters, the height of this minaret is only 26 meters. The massive trunk, the beauty and refinement of the finishing indicate that the minaret was conceived as a majestic and grandiose construction. Indeed, according to the plan of the ruler Muhammad Amin Khan, its height should have surpassed the famous minaret Kolan in Bukhara. According to various assumptions, its height was to be from 70 to 110 meters. We do not know exactly why, but it remained unfinished and was named Khalta, short. Amin Khan Madrasa, which is located near the Khalta Minor, is the largest spiritual educational institution in Khorezm. It had comfortable rooms for studying and living. It also housed a rich library. The creations of ancient masters are carefully preserved and restored, folk art lives and develops. Weavers, wood carvers and artists work in the ancient walls made of ancient bricks. Carpets and fabrics are woven here according to the technologies inherited from ancient ancestors. UNESCO was involved in the restoration of these technologies. Speaking about the contribution of Khorezmians to the world's science and culture, it is necessary to recall the name of the great mathematician of the 8th-9th century, Al-Khorezmi. The Latin version of Al-Khorezmi's name, algorithmus, became a scientific term. In the same way, Al-Khorezmi introduced the concept of algebra into world science. The great scientist Al-Biruni, almost 1,000 years ago, made one of the very first geographical globes, which allowed to determine the coordinates of settlements. Al-Biruni argued that the sun and stars were balls of fire, and the moon and planet were dark bodies reflecting light. The city, surrounded by the sands of the Kizilkum Desert, was built tightly, one building to another. What was a forced measure, as a result, gave a unique charm to the city and made it attractive for tourists. Khiva is like a fairy tale from 1001 Nights. The ancient city has almost completely preserved its ancient appearance. And in 1967 Khiva was declared a city reserve. And in 1990 UNESCO recognized the inner fortress of Ichankala as a historical monument of world significance. The large caravans that traveled along the Silk Road stopped at Khiva and at the Devkala fortress in Hazarasp. The fortress of Kaladzik was located between these 2 points and was a place of intermediate stop for many caravans traveling from east to west and in the opposite direction. It is said that this fortress is at least 3,000 years old. And next to the Kaladzik fortress, in the middle of the desert, a salt lake mysteriously appeared. Locals say that bathing in it cures many diseases. They say that if you bury yourself in the coastal clay or coastal sand, warmed by the hot sun, you will leave all your ailments. The water is so salty that, as usual in such cases, it is impossible to drown in it.
Kara aşkı yarına görünce